All right. Well, thank you, everyone who is joining live via Zoom or live via Facebook or watching this on the recording. I just want to, thank you for the time of being here, a part of this workshop. This workshop is something that's been on my brain for a while, so I am very excited to finally be sharing it with you. So this workshop is called Yoga to Feel Beautiful. And fun fact, the term kalana is actually derived from an old Greek term kalon, which actually means to feel beautiful inside and out. So this whole concept of feeling beautiful is something that I have been, really passionate about for a long time. And even so much so that I actually used it as a way to name the brand, name the company, name the type of yoga that we're trying to create. So just in case you're not super familiar with me, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself to you and give you a little bit of information about me in case you're not all that familiar with my yoga experience. So right now, I currently teach online via Zoom. Hi, I'm Shauna, by the way, in case you didn't already know that. There is a picture of me doing some yoga on a hike over by the beach. Fun fact, that was actually the day that my husband proposed to me. So that's a really special picture. So yeah, my name is Shauna. I've been practicing yoga for over 10 years, which seems mind-boggling when you really think about it. But I have been teaching now for over 5 years, actually. I can update this slide. First of all, I started teaching in a corporate fitness environment. So I would have a couple ladies from legal, as I lovingly referred to them as, who would join me 2 days a week. And whenever the pandemic hit, I switched to online and have really been trying to expand the student base and explore different styles of yoga. So right now, I primarily teach online and I'm really enjoying it. Would love to get more classes under my belt. But for the time being, yeah, if any of you have ever been to one of my classes, thank you so much. If you've ever been interested in trying them, I also have classes available on YouTube. So if you ever want to check those out, I'd love to hear from you either now or in the future. Please feel free to reach out to me via email or on social. I'm available through Facebook, Instagram, all the spots. Please feel free to look me up there. And if you do have any questions after watching this presentation or just in the future about yoga or me in general, please do not hesitate to reach out. Okay, so let's dive into a little bit about what we're going to cover today. So this is a workshop talking about yoga. Now, we definitely are going to do a little bit of movement in our chairs here. But first, I wanted to give you a little level of what we're going to be working on today. So we're going to talk about what does it actually mean to feel beautiful. So this whole workshop is about feeling beautiful. And I know that if you think about beauty, at first glance, you might be thinking about beauty on the outside, and that's fine. That's the way we typically use the word. But when you think about what beauty is on the outside, I would love to kind of turn that reflection inward to start thinking about what it actually feels like. Somebody else might think that you're beautiful, and I have no doubt that you are. But I'm curious, what does it feel like to you to actually feel beautiful? Is it something that you can put into words? So we're going to we're going to explore that a little bit more in just a moment here. And then we're going to talk about how does that feeling of being beautiful or feeling beautiful, how does yoga help us do that? So, really connecting that inner peace, that inner joy, that inner confidence and beauty and radiance. How does yoga actually help us achieve that? So, that's part of my mission in teaching yoga is to help you try to feel beautiful on the inside. But we're going to explore how yoga actually helps us do that. And then finally, I want to talk about how to begin a yoga practice or introduce more yoga into your day. So perhaps you are a brand new yoga practitioner who's never done it at all. Or maybe you are a yoga practitioner and maybe you do it once or twice a week, or heck, maybe you even do it every day. And there's different ways that you can incorporate it into your life. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. All right. So before we get too deep into all of the content, my favorite way to start a workshop is just to take a breath. So I wanted to guide you in a small little breathing exercise, just a moment here. So wherever you are, I would love it if you would just find a comfortable seat, whether you're in a chair, on your couch, on the floor, preferably not in a car right now, but really just find anywhere that you can be comfortable and allow your shoulders to stack above your hips, and then roll your shoulders up, back, and down. And do that once or twice more. Notice if you have any tension through the shoulders and the upper back. And then allow your arms to hang heavy. So if you have arm handles on your chair, allow your arms to rest there. If not, feel free to just allow your hands to sit gently on your legs. Your palms can be up, or you can ground down by pressing your palms gently onto your thighs or your knees. Once you have nice, long, relaxed arms, please take a moment to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. If it doesn't feel comfortable to close your eyes, maybe just have a really soft gaze and close them slightly. From there, take a deep breath in through your nose. Allow the air to lift and fill and expand from within you. And exhale, sigh it out. As you let it go, feel your shoulders begin to relax, allowing them to fall away from your ears, and allow your arms to hang just a little more heavy. Take another deeper inhale through the nose. And let everything go. Relax, feeling the chest soften, allowing the belly to soften and relax. And then take one larger, deepest breath yet. For this one, try to invite in as much air as you possibly can into your lungs. Maybe try to squeeze in just a little bit more, max capacity, until you can't fit any more in. Pause when you reach the top. And exhale, let it all go. And allow that breath to cleanse and refresh you. And notice if you feel any different from when we first began just a moment ago. Do you feel any less tension through the shoulders, upper back, through the chest, through the neck? You know, lately I've been really trying to pay attention to where I feel stress in a physical way. Where does it physically show up in my body? And I learned it shows up right here in the middle of my chest. I feel tension right there when I'm feeling stressed. So by taking these long, deep cleansing breaths, it's like you're breaking up all of that stress. And with each breath, it starts to break up into smaller pieces. And with each exhale, it finally begins to melt away. Now, while you're still sitting in stillness, perhaps with your eyes closed, I want to invite you to enjoy 1 minute of silence and explore the practice of meditation. Now, we're going to talk about meditation in just a few moments, but I want to allow you to see how it feels to spend just a moment in stillness and in quiet, so you can see what meditation might feel like if this is a new practice for you. And if you're worrying that your mind just won't quiet down, and maybe that makes you think that you can't meditate, I want you to forgive that assumption And know that that is not the intention of meditation. The intention of meditation is not to silence the mind. It is to focus the mind and to begin to notice what thoughts are racing through your head without judgment. Perhaps you're thinking, oh, I'm actually late for something else today, or the dishwasher is about to finish, or I got to start laundry. That's okay. Let those moments, let those thoughts exist. But imagine those thoughts are like clouds on a windy day, and they're visible, they're out in front of you, but they are not a part of you, and they can pass by with the wind. And perhaps another thought will come in and replace that original thought, and that's okay. Acknowledge it. Hello, cloud, I see you. And the wind is going to gently push you away. Gently bringing awareness back to your body and the room that surrounds you. Bringing attention back to your breath. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And a cleansing exhale, sigh it all out. And when you're ready, gently blink your eyes open and notice how you might feel compared to earlier today. Beautiful. I'd love to hear in the comments how you're feeling. But we will go ahead and move on. So thank you for that little cleansing reset. All right, so let's talk about beautiful. Now, I actually had to look up the definition because I was like, we all know what it means, but how do you actually define it? And I was a little surprised that it was not more complex of a definition. So beautiful, having qualities of beauty, exciting aesthetic pleasure, generally pleasing, excellent. So this definition in my mind is very simple, right? It's just, it's nice, it's pleasing, it's excellent, it looks pretty, right? So it's very, very simple, right? But when I try to internalize how beauty feels, not just how it looks, but how it feels, there are some other words that come to my mind. And if you are joining me live, this is where I would love to maybe get some input from you if you have any. It's okay if you don't, or if you are watching in the replay and want to add it in the comments, I would love to see those as well at any time. But my question is, what does beautiful feel like? So if you imagine that, let's just imagine that you don't have the gift of sight, right? And someone comes up to you and you don't know, you probably know what you look like a little bit, right? But let's just imagine you don't know what you look like, okay? And somebody walks up to you and says, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. What are the feelings that you're going to feel on the inside, right? You take them for their word, right? But how does that translate into how you feel about yourself? Well, here are some of the words that come to my mind when I go through this exercise for myself. Confident, strong, self-aware, capable, graceful, intentional. So these are some of the words that come to my mind when I think about what the word beautiful, how it translates to actual feelings. I can do something. I can be aware of how I am making other people feel or how my actions are being perceived or interpreted. I can move with grace and kindness. I can be strong, independent, confident, and I can be intentional. If you have any other words that you might want to throw into the pool of how the word beautiful makes you feel, I'd love to hear those now. And I'll actually see if I can pop into the Facebook group just a moment and see if anybody has joined us. I'm not seeing any comments yet. That's okay. And I also think there's a little bit of a delay, so I will come back and look at those comments. We also have the chat function if you are joining me on the Zoom, or if you are on the Zoom and you wish to come off mute, that's fine too. If not, that's okay. I won't put pressure on you. Alrighty, so those are some of the words that I like to use to describe how beauty makes me feel. Now, again, if you have other words that you'd like to throw into the chat, I would love to hear them and add those to our future definition. But let's go ahead and move on to how does yoga actually help us feel beautiful? Well, there's a multitude of ways, in my opinion, but let's talk about what yoga actually is. So yoga is a lot of different things. In this slide, we're just going to talk about yoga as a movement and a form of fitness. So I really wanted to include the quote from Legally Blonde. Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't kill their husbands. They just don't. From our favorite Elle Woods. So what yoga can do from a movement and fitness perspective is fill you with endorphins, right? As all exercise can do. On the surface, yoga looks like postures, stretching, balancing, building strength. And for me, the act of improving my body in these physical ways makes me actually appreciate my body more and have more gratitude for all of the things that it can actually do for me. One of the great things about yoga is that there are a handful of common postures which can be performed in a variety of ways. So there's always going to be a level of yoga for any level of fitness. And we can make postures easier or harder depending on how we're feeling that day or where we are on the path of that posture. But what's great is that if we are consistently practicing those handful of postures over and over again, we will notice ourselves improving. We will notice ourselves becoming more balanced, more flexible, more stronger. And when you see yourself actually improving in something, inching your way towards getting those goals, that is going to give you in a sense of accomplishment. And those accomplishments are what are going to build your confidence. And I would say if I had to choose one word that beautiful felt like, it's confidence. For me, that is one of the greatest things that yoga has given me is greater confidence. And I think that when you're able to really track that progress, it really helps you measure your accomplishments, which then, at least in my view, translates into confidence. And being strong and being able to do things makes you feel beautiful, right? You're going to have those muscles on the outside. You're going to have that sense of accomplishment and confidence on the inside. And to me, that translates as beauty. So as with all forms of exercise, your yoga does help increase those endorphins. These endorphins interact with the receptors in your brain that reduce your perception of pain and also trigger a positive feeling. So just the act of exercising, and yoga is an exercise itself, will chemically make you feel happier. But there's all these other ways that it can really help you feel more beautiful as well. So according to experts, the idea is really to try to exercise at least 20 to 30 minutes 3 times a week, if not more. And so by having a yoga practice, you will increase that level of positivity, increase that level of accomplishment, and increase that level of confidence. So that's one way that yoga can really help us increase our level of internal beauty. Next, we have the meditation and mindfulness piece. So as we know, yoga is the physical elements, but yoga is a lot more than just moving your body. You can, as we just did a moment ago, you can sit completely still and be practicing yoga. Yoga is, meditation and mindfulness are a part of yoga. So what we just practiced a few minutes ago was a really short, moment of practicing meditation and mindfulness. Meditation is the practice of focus. So if you think that meditation, or if you've been told, or if you're under the impression that meditation is about, blanking your mind and not having thoughts and being able to just be, an empty body for a moment, that is not the intention of meditation. The intention of meditation is to practice focusing your energy and your thoughts on one specific thing and trying to tune the rest of the distractions and the noise out. So what you might be focusing on might be a project that you're working on, a movement that you're working on, which is why, yoga is often referred to as a moving meditation, because the intention is, while you're practicing yoga, you're trying to remove the distractions and the noise of the rest of the chaos of the world going on in your life. And you're trying to focus and harness that attention and energy on your practice within the four corners of your mat. So you're focusing on your movements, you're focusing on your breath, so that you can try to release those distractions. But that focus, that meditation can be toward a lot of things. And then when you think about mindfulness and meditation are very similar, but I think of them as being a little different in the sense of meditation is the practice of focus. Mindfulness is the practice of noticing. When you talk about noticing what thoughts you're having, that to me is mindfulness. And so when we have a meditative practice of trying to sit and pay attention to what our thoughts are, we're just noticing the words that are going through our brain. And the more you practice mindfulness and perhaps practicing meditation, you're going to start to notice those words that keep coming up and how they make you feel, and what those thoughts are and how those thoughts translate into feelings. So if you tend to engage in any amount of negative self-talk, which I don't think I've met somebody who doesn't have a problem with having some negative self-talk in their life, but when you start to engage in noticing that you have negative self-talk, that mindfulness will allow you to say, oh, that's negative. That's not constructive. That's not helpful to me achieving my goals or feeling beautiful. So when you start to notice the negative thoughts, then you can try to change the focus by having a positive self-talk, a positive reinforcement to focus on instead of that negative self-talk. So by practicing meditation and mindfulness, we are actually able to start changing the wiring of our brain by noticing, oh, hey, that thought I just had, that feeling that I'm getting of stress, of doubt, of insecurity, of low self-esteem, that's coming from this thought. This thought are in these words. These are the words that I'm telling to myself, which make me feel this negative way. Now that I know that it's there, I can try to replace that thought with different words. And even if you don't believe the words yet, just by having different words to focus on in the mind, you're able to start eventually rewiring those thoughts into having a positive counterpoint to that negative self-talk. So That's why meditation and mindfulness can be such a benefit in helping us increase our confidence and our appreciation for ourselves, our gratitude for ourselves. We can start to rewire the thoughts and the feelings in our brain through these practices, which is so powerful. And at the end of the day, that is what's going to help us feel beautiful, which in my view is the goal. You can tell me if you have a different goal. I'd love to hear it, but that in my view is the goal. All right. So how do we get all of the benefits of yoga that help us feel beautiful? Well, we just talked about what the benefits are, right? We have movement, we have fitness, we have mindfulness and meditation. These are just a couple. There's a whole bunch of things in yoga that we can continue to learn about the philosophy and just the history of yoga and how it's manifested itself throughout time. It's a fascinating practice, but we're just going to hone in on these really constructive pieces right now. And you're going to probably be a little disappointed when I tell you how easy it is. You just do it. Thanks, Nike. You just do it. You just practice. You find some amount of time in your day that you can carve out to practice yoga, whether it's the physical side of it or the mental side of it. So if it's a physical practice, really any amount of exercise is going to give you those endorphins. And if you like different types of movement than traditional yoga postures, by all means, that can be your version of yoga. That's cool too. If you've ever taken my classes, you'll notice we have a wide variety of classes. We'll be doing weights and punching things in one class, and we'll be, holding a pose for a solid minute, which my students do not love me for sometimes. And so we have a lot of variety in my classes. There is only one way to practice yoga physically. But the other side of it is practicing that mindfulness and that meditation. And that can be done anywhere. You can take a moment, 5 minutes when you are at your desk, maybe step away to a quiet room if you're in an office, or even if you're at home, maybe close down your screens for a minute and do the exact practice we did earlier today, which is sitting, rolling your shoulders down your back and taking a few moments to breathe and pay attention to the feelings and the thoughts that are floating around in your head. And if you can start to replace them with those positive ones, then you'll have a beautiful shift in how you start to think, which might change how you begin to feel. So at the end of the day, the way we receive the benefits of yoga is to actually do yoga. It's pretty straightforward. So what I want to propose is that you do yoga with me. So again, I have 4 different types of classes that I offer, and we do one live class a week. And if you're not able to make the live class, that's totally fine. All of the recordings actually go on to our membership site if you're a Kalana yoga member, but I also put a handful of them available on YouTube for free. So not all of them make it to YouTube, but there's a pretty good selection of archives, and I will continue adding different varieties of classes to YouTube in the future if you decide that maybe being a member isn't quite your jam right now. So we have the 4 different styles of yoga classes, one live class every week. And those are really the fitness focused classes. So those are going to be all about moving your body, increasing your heart rate, getting those endorphins, and feeling good about improving your body on the outside as much as in the inside. So in addition to my 4 different styles of yoga classes, I also offer these additional types of videos, and there'll be more and more of these as time goes on, but I have guided meditation videos. I have restore and reflect yoga classes, which are really slow, intentional classes where we don't move a lot physically, but we take a long time to rest and recover and relax, restore our body from the inside out. And then we also take those opportunities to reflect on either our last week or month or day or however we're feeling or however long we want to reflect on. Some additional classes or videos that I produce are my posture breakdowns. So there's only a few of these available right now. I have a ton already recorded that I'm going to be releasing more and more. These are really the how to practice yoga correctly in a physical sense, right? So there's all kinds of ways to move your body, but when you're practicing any type of movement as a yoga teacher, it's important for me that you feel good in your body in these movements. So for these posture breakdowns, what we're going to do is we're going to take a specific posture and we're going to look at how to get into it correctly, how to deepen the posture, or how to customize the posture. And there's a lot of different variety in most postures. It's not like, oh, there's only one way to do a down dog, or there's only one way to do a warrior two. There's different things that you can do to adjust to make them feel good in your body as it is, and then help you get to that next level. That way you can track your progress, feel your accomplishment, boost that confidence, and all the beautiful things we've already talked about. Finally, we have our yoga drills. Yoga drills are definitely more physical. This is going to be something that we might incorporate into our more high intensity classes like cardio yoga or iron yoga. But this is a way to really get a very short burst of workout without having an entire yoga class. So more of those videos will be coming as well. All right, so if any of this actually sounds kind of interesting to you, you're like, hey, I could probably do 1 or 2 classes a week, then I want to take this opportunity to really invite you to join us as being a founding member. So as I've mentioned, I've been teaching yoga online for the past couple of years, and I have a beautiful little home studio that I work on to have great lighting and great recording. And so this is actually becoming more than just a hobby. I'm turning this into my passion, my business, and hopefully my career sooner rather than later. So what I'm doing is I'm actually creating a founding membership for anybody that wants to be part of this community as it's starting to build. You know, we already have a great selection of videos available, but if you really want to explore more deeply how to practice yoga, how to personalize yoga for yourself, and to maintain all this progress that you can make by having a consistent practice, then I would love to invite you to be one of our founding members. It's a pretty inexpensive membership. Like, again, we have the free the 4 classes, 1 class a week that we offer. And for all founding members, you know, really the benefit of being a founding member or an early member is that you will get to help influence and create the kind of content that we really want this community to offer all of us long term. So we know we have the yoga videos, but I have tons of things that I would love to get your feedback on to see what really resonates most with you. You know, goal setting and personal development is something that I'm really passionate about. I know it doesn't necessarily fall exactly within the realm of yoga as we tend to define it, but for me, you know, growing into a better version of ourselves is part of the path of yoga. So I think there's a lot of different things that we can incorporate into the content of this membership as it grows. And I really want to invite you to be a part of it, and you know, help shape the future of it as we continue to grow. And also for founding members, I did design this very cute tank top that all founding members will receive. So if that's something that interests you, that is a limited time offer. All right, so finally, I just wanted to share a little bit about what this founding membership is. It is all of the things we already talked about, and it's $29 a month. So I really want to make sure it's affordable. You know, I have been checking out local yoga studios by me just because I love being a student of yoga as well as a teacher, and I love learning from other yoga teachers too. But it's so expensive to go to a studio. I mean, they you know, they've had a hard time in the pandemic, but they charge, you know, at least $20 for 1 class usually, and their monthly memberships are like $150 plus. It's a lot. And I've really grown to love working out from home. So I really wanted to make this super affordable. It will go up eventually as content becomes more available and consistent. So it'll eventually go up, and that's why being a founding member would be really exciting if this is something that interests you, because you would always be locked into that price. You would never pay anything more. But as the membership becomes more valuable, the price would eventually go up. I don't know when, I don't know how much yet, but yeah, I'm not really worried about that. Just trying to get this thing off the ground in the meantime. So that's a little bit about what I am trying to offer. At the end of the day, there's plenty of ways to work with me if this is not something that interests you. Perhaps you prefer just to join the YouTube classes or some of the recordings that I'll be providing in the Facebook group. If you ever have specific questions of a posture or how to customize it, please don't ever hesitate to ask. My number one goal is to help you practice yoga, but to make sure that you're doing it safely and comfortably. It's about finding your level, owning it and loving it. And sure, yeah, maybe trying to get to the next level, but you have to do things correctly and safely from where you are. And so please never hesitate to reach out if you ever have questions about physical postures and how to do them correctly. Okay, so that's my spiel. I'm so excited that you were able to join me for this presentation. I think that yoga is such a powerful and impactful practice. I think it has improved my life tremendously, which is why I'm so passionate about becoming a yoga teacher and hoping to spread these wonderful feelings to really anybody that wants to hear me talk. So I just really want to say thank you so much for joining me. If you do have any questions and you want to reach out, please don't hesitate to connect. I have a very small audience, so I love and will respond to any DM or email or comment. So you can reach me at Shauna at Kalana Yoga. The website is kalanayoga.com, which has a link to our offering tree page, which has all of the classes available and the membership site. And then, of course, I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Kalana Yoga, and my YouTube channel is available on Kalana Yoga. So thank you once again. I will pause to see if there are any questions about yoga, meditation, anything we talked about so far. If you have questions on the membership, I'd love to answer those for you as well. I'll pop into the Facebook group for just a moment to see if any comments came up. Doesn't look like I'm seeing any right now, but that's okay. It's a Saturday morning. So if you're catching this on the replay, just know that I'm still available to answer anything that you have going on. All righty. Well, again, thank you so much. I do hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and weekend. And anytime you get a little stressed out or you feel it right here in the chest, just take a moment and breathe. Namaste, my friends.